Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and as you can see things have changed a little bit with the console. We have our inputs installed and all three screens are actually working now. So why don't you go and have a look and see all the work that's gone into actually getting it this far, and then we can basically see how it works. So back in a sec. Right, well, we've got the monitor that we're going to be using in front of us here now, and all I've done so far, if you see, I've just put a bit of this is just insulation tape, and I've just put a bit of insulation tape round the outside there, so you won't see any blue when we actually fit it. Here's the problem: in the computer, it's going to need, sorry, in the console, it's going to need to sit at like an angle like that. It's going to need to sit there fairly firmly. So basically what I've done is I've made, and it's a bit crude but it should work, that. Now the idea here is, get this the right way around, that will bolt on there like that. And that holds that at exactly the right angle we need it. But obviously, you know, this needs fixing down. All I've done, I took a piece of plywood which I've cut to size. That's about the same size as the bottom of the original monitor, basically. So we can actually get two little fixings at either side to secure it in place. Cut a strip of metal, just a piece of scrap. It's actually a piece of scrap off the S4000 piece of the metal I removed. I've cut a strip of that, and basically what I've done is I've used a two-part epoxy just to epoxy that onto the top, onto the front there. A little bit of a rake, and basically it's just enough that when I put the screen on here, it holds it just at the right angle. What I've done then, I'll show you. There's a couple of fixing points on the bottom of here, you can see there and there. So I marked through, I'll put that on the thing there, and I've just got one of the screws on the floor. I hope I can find it. Yeah, there it is, thank God for that, because I've only got two of these screws that fit. Right, so basically what I've done is I've marked through there, so that's those two holes there. And I've countersunk it on the back there, so even when I put the screws in, this will sit flat. Now, I'll put the screw in there. We should be able to get this to line up. When we get the first one in, it'll be easier to get the second one in. Oops. I think it's around about that. See if I can just get this. There we are, that's it. Put that screw in there. Just line that up. There we are. Make sure those are tight enough. They don't need to be mega tight. Right, okay, and basically we have built ourselves a raked stand, so if you look there, it just holds the monitor at the angle that we need it. So it only needed to be a very, very slight rake to it. That's nice and solid now, that's not going to move anywhere. And what it's done basically is give us an area here which we can mount this. This is the power supply and the output, the basically the RGB and composite to VGA converter board. In fact, we can take that off because we've got the one that I've already made up in the loom, which will plug straight onto that connector there. That will need to plug into there. Does look a little bit skew that, but it should be okay. That wire we don't need because that just went to the LED on the front of the monitor, which we're not going to need. So what I might do actually is just get rid of that. We'll put this cover back on because it basically stops you touching any of the live parts of the power supply. Hopefully this will come off. There we are. Wow, they put a lot of adhesive in there, didn't they? Dear me. And it all looks in good condition in there. I can't see any swollen or bulging capacitors or anything like that. We just need to get rid of this wire in here. I wonder if I can just snip it off at the board. I think we can actually. I think we can get away with that. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can get some better snips than them. Just bear with me a sec. I should have some. There it is. Right, these are what I should have been using. And get right on it there. And that's that one off. So obviously we don't want these wires to short out. There we go. That's that one off. That's that one off. And I've cut that one right off against the actual PCB there, so that's fine. Right, let's see what we can do about mounting this. Right. I wonder if we can get that lug there off. Because we don't need it. That is very, very tight. Let's see if I've got something I can undo that with. There we are. I think that must have some thread locking compound or something on it because that's still tight now. Well, I can get it off with my fingers. Yeah, I think they used a thread lock on that. Well, it is an earth point, so I can kind of understand. You know, they don't want it to come loose, so fair enough. That isn't just going to pull out, is it? That's a pain. I was hoping that'd just pull out, and then we could just mount the mount the board nicely, but let's see if we can get it out anyway. Otherwise we'll have to look at perhaps just mounting the board down to, which should be okay I suppose, mounting the board down to the wood. I mean, it's insulated, so it's not going to be a problem. And do away with the metal backplate, although I suppose technically it would produce some screening. Right, let's get the board off there. Right, just bear with me, folks. I'm going to get some pliers and see if I can winkle that out, and then we can actually just mount this board nice and flat down. So, back in a sec. Okay, basically with a pair of pliers, and a little bit of twisting, it just comes straight out. I should have actually filmed that because it came out dead easy. So we've got that out of the way. Let's decide where we're going to mount everything. I think we're going to mount it that way on, like that. We've got 2 holes on that side there, 2 holes there. We could even use that hole that we've just taken that fixing out of. What we need are some small self-tapping screws which can screw that piece of metal down to that piece of timber. Now I should have some that I salvaged from a piece of equipment not long ago. I wonder if that the ones on this would do. These might work really nicely. Have a look at these. They should work. I will have to probably self-tap the hole slightly because they don't have a pilot on the end, but they've got a decent. These are basically a plastic screw, but they should do the job. And I've got 4 matching ones here which aren't. They're just on a piece of scrap equipment that's going out to the bin, so I'll just pick some off that. There we go. Incidentally, they're what I use to mount some of the parts on the control panel I've made for the front of this thing. So, right, we're going to need, where's the drill? We'll have to drill a little bit of a pilot hole just to help these start off, but these should work just right actually. Now what have I done with my drill? There they are. There's my drill bits. That should be about right. It's probably a little bit big. Let's go for next size down, I think, which is 2mm. That's ideal. Okay, so we'll just come on there. There we go. That should be enough. I mean, it's not exactly heavy. This we just want to hold it. We just want to hold it in place. So. Let's see if this will screw down. There we are. Yeah, they work nicely. Let's get that one in there. Yeah, those are going to work quite nice. On there. I'll have to find some more screws to mount that PCB back down because it was only held on with 2 screws. Right, there we go. That's the bottom. Come on, in you go. There we are. Lovely. So that's that bottom plate held down nice and secure now. Move the. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do power wise yet, how I'm going to mount this, or when I'm going to cut that off and just go to some connectors or something, I'm not sure. And we'll also have to somehow mount that earth down, so we are going to need an earth point on here just to make it completely safe. Right, I will mount this board back in position. We need it so it's easy to access. Let's have a think where it's going to go. I think it goes that way around, doesn't it? In fact, we're probably better off with it the other way around. Yes, we will. We want it that way around, like that. Yeah, that works nicely now. See if these screws are going to work. That's one. Put one in the top there. I think that's going to work out quite nicely. Right, so that everything's going to connect up there okay. That's going to plug in. There's enough room to get that to plug in and be nice and neat. That's our 12 volt, so that's our power out to the screen. That will need connecting there like that, and that's basically it. So all I've got to do, I need to put some more screws in that so we can put that cover back on there. I need to finish off screwing that board down. I'll do that off camera to save a little bit of time, because I don't want to make this into too much of an epic. I'll find some other screws. I'll get that actually fixed down properly, and you can join me in a minute when we're actually going to trial fit this and make sure it's actually going to work in the S4000 case, and all the screen lines up and everything. So back in a sec. Okay, now we have the three screens all nicely secured in place. I'm quite pleased with how those have fitted now. Next thing we need to look at is actually how we're going to turn the three monitors off and on. Now originally I was actually just going to wire them all up so when you plugged it in they'd all power up, but then I was actually thinking there's going to be instances where I just want that screen on, or I just want the green screen monitor or something like that on, you know. Really we need the ability to be able to switch the monitors off and on independently. So what I've come up with and what we're going to put together now, basically I'm going to use this. People might think, yo, you're doing something dangerous here, but I'm not. What we've got here, we've got an old three-way light switch. This is actually from the 1960s, it's quite an old one. I had a rummage through my spares boxes down in the bottom shed. And so this is a three-gang switch. So we've got three separate light switches there, and all three of these basically are rated at 5 amps each. I mean, this is why this is safe to do. This switch really is designed to use mains. It's AC only, 250 volts, 5 amps per switch. Now, okay, we're only going to be able to switch the live, we're not going to be able to switch the live in neutral, but a hell of a lot of appliances are like that. You know, they only switch the live in the actual switch, so that's absolutely going to be fine. And it's rated, each switch is rated at 5 amps. Now, these monitors, each monitor basically runs with a mains transformer. None of them pull more than 3 amps. They all pull well under 3 amps. So really, there's not going to be a problem using that for the actual switch. And it means we can have one monitor on one monitor on the other, and one monitor on the other. So what I've done, I've got a back box there. I have modified it slightly by just basically arrowditing a couple of screws. You notice up there into the back of it. And again, this is a used one. It's just something I found in my parts and in my junk pile. So those are basically epoxied in on the back. So it's got 2 captive nuts. We'll take them screws out. It's got 2 captive nuts epoxied into the back there, and you'll see why I've done that shortly. It'll become apparent that shortly. It's a little bit mucky in there, but it's all right. Right. So what basically we're going to do? We've got some chop block there, and I've got 3 IEC leads, because all the power supplies that the monitors actually run on will have an IEC input. Because they're just like 12-volt power supplies with an IEC input on them. So to make this so it's basically, this is making it user serviceable, serviceable friendly. Everything I'm going to do, if I can do it on an IEC lead so it can be unplugged and removed for service or repair, it makes life just a lot easier. So we've got 3 IEC leads there. We've got the switch itself. I've got another piece of cable that should be suitable, and this is 1.5. Again, we've got 3 monitors. They pull an absolute maximum of 3 amps each, so that's 9 amps. This 1.5 cable is well suited for that. It's perfect for about 10 amps or so continuous pull on it, and we're going to be nowhere near that, so that's going to be absolutely fine. So basically it's just a case of putting this thing together. Let's start with, apologies if you can hear any noise in the background, by the way, but my cat is having fun at the other side of the workshop. I had to bring him in here because I was feeding the dog, and unless I'm there to watch him, if I put the dog's food out, not careful, the cat eats it before the dog gets a chance. So seeing as he's having his dinner, I brought the cat in here with me. And he's currently at the other side of the room chasing a cable tie across the floor. Get this off here. Oh, there we go. First piece off. Get the other 2 stripped. Now we can cut these down in a minute. I'm just going to cut the wires nice and long to start with. And I'll leave the wires at full length because we can always neaten them up inside the actual unit rather than cut them all to exactly the right length. Because I don't know where everything is going to fully fit in this thing yet. Like I say, I'm working as I go. Now, obviously, don't attempt anything like this unless you know what you're doing with mains, basically. I actually used to be an electrician. That was my trade many years ago. So, saying that, when I was an electrician, it was 16th edition. I think they're on 20 something now. So I'm quite a bit out of the loop. But I do stuff like this doesn't really change. Right, that's our 3 IEC leads. We've got our mains input cable. I know it's a different colour, but it won't really matter because you're not going to see any of this. This is all going to be hidden when it's actually done. Split that off there. There we go. Right, so we've got our live earth and neutral. Let's get that out of the way for now. We need to get these into this box. That's 1, 2, 3. Am I missing one? There it is. So we need to get that lot in there now. Now that one hole that's already through there is not going to be big enough, so we're going to have to make another hole. And so these are designed for wall mounting, but we can improvise, and it'll still work for what I want. I'll take that out there. Just crack the knockout out and try and smooth it out as best as possible. You don't really want any sharp edges around there. They're going to cut into the new cable. So just go in there and just take some of them extra sharp bits off. That should do. Yeah, that should do nicely. Right. And what we'll have to do is we'll have to take 2 of the cables through one hole and 2 of the cables through the other hole. And put them through there like that. I think we can get them through. We might just have to make that a little bit nearly through. Let's just grab a Stanley knife here. There we go, that's better. Take a bit more of that out. Take a bit more of that out. What are you doing, mate? Cat is maybe coming on to shot anytime soon. He seems to be coming this way. No. He's jumped onto the top of the shelf above me. You're not going to make an appearance on camera, mate? Okay. Nearly in there now. First wires through the... there we go. Push it a little bit more. There we are. That's the first 2 through. Yeah, they're going to work nicely. Like that. Let's get the next 2 through. There we go, that's them 2 through. So we've got basically our four cables through there. I want them all about the same length through actually. So I'm just going to pull that black one there back a little. In fact, it's not going to pull back. I might just have to slit it and take a little bit more of the insulation off. That's probably easier than pulling it back through and risk breaking the ceramic in this box because they are a bit fragile. Right, let's get that through there now. There we go. That's it. We can slip that bit of excess insulation off now. There we go. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a cable tie, wherever my cable ties have gone. Ah, there it is. Got one. I'll let you out in a minute, mate. Right. So I'll take a cable tie. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Yes, you can. I'll let you out in a minute, mate. basically I'm going to put a cable tie nice and tight round those cables now. There we go. Essentially that'll stop them cables pulling back out of there. That should be fine. There should still be enough room to get the top down on it. There's my snips. These will have to do. Right, there we go. So basically that's all our main cables in there. We've got the one that goes to the white wire, these ones. So that's our mains incomer. That one we need to just keep separate at the moment, so I'm going to tie a knot in that. Just so I can identify that that is the mains in. That's the one that goes from the white cable there, which is the mains in. Then we've got the other three, which are our switch wires out to the three different monitors. And basically all we need to do with the other wires is we need to common all the earths together. So common that one, that one, that one, and that one together. Okay mate, I'll let you out in a minute. I'm sure Odie's finished having his tea now. And then we've got those four blue ones there again. We need to common those four together. And that should basically be it. Right, so we need a bit of chop block. Got some chop block here. You could do this with solder and heat shrink and things like this, but doing it this way means that it's going to be a little bit easier if we ever have to do any repairs or anything, change anything in the future. It's just a case of undoing some chop block connectors rather than remaking a load of wiring. Let's start with the earths. We want to get them so they can tuck down out of the way, basically. So we'll cut them down to about that. See what, they don't cut very well anymore. I'll do the same with those two. Okay, get them stripped. This one. Two. Three. Four, there we go. And all we need to do, we'll twist two of them together. Like that. We'll twist them two together like that. Get one of them pieces of chop block. Put those two in that side like that. Make sure that they're nicely in. We should just have enough room to stick those two in from the other side like that. Tighten that up. There we go. That can be tucked down there out of harm's way. And we need to do the same thing with the neutrals. We can do that down on that side there, keep that out of harm's way. Move that wire around there. Cut these down. Like that. Oops. Strip that off. Get those connected together. Like that. Another piece of chop block. Connector block. I mean, chop blocks are a term that I've known and used for many, many years. I'm sure it's called other things by other people and in different countries, but terminal strip, terminal block. So I've always known it and had it referred to as chop block. Push them wires in there like that. Do the terminals up. There we go, and these are fairly decent. You know, the wire is not going to pull out of there. What I am just going to do, even though this isn't really necessary, but just for a little bit of added peace of mind, I'm just going to wrap them in a little bit of insulation tape. Okay, okay, Mitu, just 1 minute and I'll let you out. I'm sure, just let me finish this and then I will let you out. I will do the same with that actually. I haven't got any blue, I haven't got any blue, but I'll use green, green will be okay. So this is just an added layer of protection. It's not really going to be that necessary because we've used them proper chop blocks. Like I said, they are rated for mains. So there we go. That is that side and that side. They can go down there like that. Let's wire up this actual switch. Now Mitu, be careful. I said you can come any minute now. I will open the door and you can go out. Cut these wires down a little bit shorter. They don't need to be that long. There we go. And we will need them little bits of wire in a minute. Let's strip off. Right, now basically what we want to do, these are two-way switches, but we're only going to use it as a one-way switch. So basically what we want is use the centre there as our common, and then the bottom section there is our one-way switch. So we'll start with this first wire. This is our incomer wire from the mains in. I'll just trim that down a little bit. And then we're going to need two other small pieces of wire, which we can use two of these for. I'll strip off that first one there. Mitu, just give me a minute, mate. Oops. Now you be careful up there, don't be knocking things off. Right. Just trim that down a little bit. That wire will go into that first connector there. Mitu, stop being a naughty pussycat. Okay, so that one goes into there like that. We'll take another piece of this wire and we'll do exactly the same. Just this is currently what I've got on my top of my workbench. Now stay there and behave until I finish this. Okay, where was we? Right, so we've got this next piece of wire. We'll strip that off. And twist that on there. Again, we'll just cut the excess off because we don't want that too long. There we go. And that one goes in there. Okay. Get this last wire here, twist that up, and I'll double it over so we've got something to for the terminal to connect onto. That one goes in there. So that's our mains in, and then it loops between the other, so it goes into the first switch, comes out into the second switch, out into the third switch. We've got our 3 wires here. So all we need to do now again, we'll just fold the end over so we've got a decent conductor to connect to. That goes in the first switch. Like that. That's the second switch. And that's the third switch there. Okie dokie. Now hopefully, if I've got this right, this should fix down onto there. There should be just enough room to get that down and screwed into place. There we go. And I should have another screw around here. Oh, there it is. And there we go. So that is our monitor switch built, basically. So we've got monitor 1, monitor 2, monitor 3. So that's going to get mounted basically in the cabinet. I'll show you that in a second, but I better just go and get rid of the pussycat and put him back in the living room. So back in a sec. Right, we're back, and basically, as you know, this is the corner where we're going to fit the actual control panel. Obviously I've got the front cowling off at the moment, and this is where I'm going to actually put the switches for the monitors. I'm not going to put them on the top there. No, so I've drilled 2 holes there, and if you remembered, I put some captive, basically epoxied 2 captive nuts behind there like that, and the idea of that is I drop these cables down the back, and these are all going to get cable tied up. I've got a load of these. Basically a self-adhesive pad, and then they're designed to have a cable tie go through them, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these underneath there like that, and that's what's going to allow the cables to go to the back and up and not get caught on anything. But what I'm going to actually do with the switch, let's get the cables and everything down there, because obviously that's got to have a plug of some description put on it, and I've got to figure out how it's actually going to be used, that. But what my idea was, if I can go in there like that with that, bring it into the correct place, and it should be about there. Now I've got 2 screws which are exactly right for them nuts on the other side. Now where's my screwdriver? There we go. And there we go. So basically it's a hidden switch. Move some of this stuff out of the way so I can get the camera a little bit closer. There we go. So, I mean, obviously let me just put the front panel back on quickly. Push that back into position. There we go. So basically the box is going to go in there, and there should just be enough room to get that in. And I've now basically to switch the monitors on, I've got switch 1, switch 2, switch 3 underneath there, nice and neat. I can have some mark on here, 1, 2 and 3, so we know where they are. But let me just grab the just bear with me a second, folks, and I'll grab the actual control panel and we'll have a look at just how the control panel and that are going to interact with one another. So back in a sec. Okay, so here we have the control panel as we've made, all ready to go. It's all lubed up and ready to go. So just as a quick test, that is going to fit basically, obviously I can't push it right back now because of where everything is, but that is basically going to fit there. It's just going to work. It's going to leave us that bit of space here for getting a USB for a keyboard and mouse to come out. So yeah, that's going to work. So I suppose the next thing we better do is look at installing this into the actual thing, and we can get it all wired up in the back, and we'll be ready for a first test. So let's have a crack at that next. Right, okay, as you can see, I've threaded all the cabling through. I've got this opened up at the moment, because what I've just done, I pulled that out of the way again. I've just used my my marker pen there, and I've marked through the position of the 2 holes, which are the mounting holes in the bottom of this plate. So I'll go and grab my drill, I'll get them 2 holes drilled out there, and we can actually get this panel actually mounted in its final position. Have a quick look at that, make sure we're happy with that, and then we'll go around the back and we'll have a look at sorting the switches out under here, and basically making the wiring look reasonably neat and tidy. So back in a sec. Okay, there's the hole drilled. I just went through on my Makita there. Just to make life easier, I went through with a 2.5 and then with a 5mm there. Get them out of the way. I've got my little, I've still got some bits of swarf on here, let's get them off the table. Set of nuts and bolts here, I think they should do. Let's get something to go on the other side of them. Yeah, they should work nicely. Right. Now I think what I'm going to have to do, let's get some pliers, get this in position. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. This is going to be a little bit on the tricky side. Hopefully this is going to line up and I've got this right. What my idea was is I'll put the nut, I'll put it actually up through and then put the nut on the top. So we'll get that through there like that. Then we take the nut and we'll put the nut on the top there. That way I've not got anything sticking down underneath I could snag my hand on. going to be a bit tricky though. Obviously it would be a lot easier to do it the other way around and have the nut on the bottom, but so that would then leave the screw out there, and I could potentially catch myself on it. So even though I'll have to struggle a little bit to get this on, it will be the better way to go there. That's the first one on. And get that down there like that. Do the same with this one on this side. So I'll put it, basically I'm going up like that with the fixing rather than down with it. Let's see if we can get in this way. There we are. And the holes line up just right. That's a relief. Right, there we go. That one's on. I use my pliers now just to tighten those up a bit. Obviously I don't have a huge amount of room in here because of I don't want to pull that front out too much because of the way I've got the wires and I've got them all tied into place. There we go, that's tight. A little tighter. So I'm going to tighten it down with these now. Tied to that side. Let's see if we can get this side. And just twist that with my finger. Tight as I can like that, and then get in with the pliers and see if I can just tighten the last bit up. Nail it. There we go, that's nice and tight. See if we can get this one a bit tighter on this side. It's all down to be able to get your pliers in, because there we go. Those are nice and tight now, so that's pulled nice and tight there. Happy with that. Now we can put the lid on, and I don't want to catch any of the wiring as I do this. Get in there, just lift that wiring over the lip. There we go, that's better. Push that in and we'll put the screws in. Screwdriver there. Okay. Two more. I'm quite pleased with the look of that. There we go. That's nice and tight. It's not moving anywhere. So we can get access to all our buttons that we need to get access to, and we've got all our inputs on there. So our VGA switch there for the internal and external VGA. I am really pleased with that. Right, what I'll do, I'll get this thing spun round and we can have a look at sorting all the wiring in the back out, get that all all that squirreled away, and we should really nearly be there. So I'll get us back as soon as I've got this thing turned around. Right, okay, here we are around the back again. I've got to say, it's just took me quite some time to get some lighting so I can actually show you what we're doing here. It was quite tricky, that. But anyway, basically, this is the back of the large LCD panel. Obviously, you know, it's turned the other way around now. And down here, this is that nest of wires that come off the control panel. So we'll pull these out. And basically, like I said, this is basically what's the wiring harness that's got to go to all three monitors. Well, there's different parts of this go to the different monitors. So there we go, that's all that through, and reasonably neat actually. We'll get all that nice and neat and tidy and pulled through. Like that. Right, I'm going to just leave that down that one side for now, and what we'll turn our attention to is that switch panel. I've got all the wiring for that coming through here. Now I've already gone ahead and used a couple of those little sticky pads basically underneath that and tied the wiring up, so I can pull the wiring through here now. There we go. So what we've got is, we've basically got the white wire, which is going to be our power input, and then we've got the three IECs which come off the three switches, one of which is going to go to each power supply for each monitor, because all three of these monitors essentially run on 12 volts, although the LCD on this far side, the one that's over there, basically has its own power supply anyway, screwed onto the board. So we just need to provide that with an IEC. These two will use a little switch mode 12 volt power supply, one each, which we'll have to, like I say, obviously plug the IEC leads into. So the next thing really I need to do is put a plug on the end of that. What I've done, I'll just pull you over a little bit. I've cable tied a 4-way extension lead to the back there. Basically to be able to power everything. It'll power these three monitors through that switch, the switch bank. It will also provide power for the computer which I'm going to build into here. We've also got two other sockets. I'll need one for the Kramer video switch, because that needs a 12 volt, you can see that, I don't know, there you go. That needs a 12 volt power supply, so obviously that can be plugged in on there as well. And it gives us another one, a spare for use with other stuff like an external amplifier or anything else we decide we want to install in there. So I'll get a plug put on this, and we'll come back when we want to start actually connecting all this stuff up. So back in a sec. Okay, we've got all that wired in. That's that wire that's running along there now. I've also took the opportunity to add a earth wire there that basically just goes to the 4-gang extension lead on the back there. So it provides the whole, basically the entire cabinet now, because it's all metal, is now earthed. So just a safety precaution basically. So if anything was to go wrong in here and a live wire was to touch the cabinet, or indeed a live wire external on something I was working on, or something that just touched the metalwork, it'll just blow the fuse in the mains plug. Basically all this metalwork now is grounded. It's basically just that wire there. I might add another one, I'm not sure. I may actually add another one, so it's got a secondary ground on it as well, but that's just for peace of mind more than anything. Right, so now all that's done, what I'm going to turn my attention to basically is starting to plug this lot in. Now, that is our VGA. That has to go to the Kramer video switcher, so we'll put that into VGA2 on the Kramer there. And we can decide where that's going to live. Bear in mind that the PC is going underneath there as well. So we're going to need a wire to go between the PC and the Kramer, and we'll keep that as short as possible. And then we've got the remote wire for the Kramer as well. We can keep that coiled up actually. What I might do, there might be enough room to have the video switcher under there like that. I'll have to do something with that excess wiring, but we might fit the video switcher down there like that. I think that'd be quite a decent place for it. And then at least if we need to be able to get access to like the VGA output. In fact, that needs to connect, so we need another VGA cable then to go from there down to the VGA output there. I'll have to fish one out of my stocks. Got this wire, this long wire is the that's the menu buttons for monitor 1 over there, so that will need getting over that way. We'll put that, we'll leave that over there for now. I'm more concentrating on this monitor. You can't really see, this is the problem with working in this, unfortunately. Like I say, I'm really struggling to get light on the subject so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right, so what we're trying to concentrate really on first is all the wiring that's going to be going to that monitor there. Well, that's the wire that basically goes to that there, which is the menu buttons for that monitor, so we'll get that plugged in. I'm quite pleased to see I've actually got it long enough to plug in. Let's see what else we've got here. Now we should have a SCART on one of these. Again, those are the long ones to go over to that other monitor. So we'll get them out of the way, we'll get them separated out. So those are to go over to that other monitor. What I'm trying to dig out is, here we are. Now that is the SCART cable, that is the main RGB input for this monitor, so hopefully this is going to be long enough. This is what I want to see, so that will basically plug in. Is it going to fit? This is where we find out that it's I've mounted this board too low or something. Oh no, I think we're going to get it in. There we go. Perfect, it just fits. Look at that. Excellent. So that's our main connection there. Anyway, what I'll do, I will go through getting all this connected up and loomed up, and I'll bring you back when I've actually got it looking something, and we can take a quick look at what I've done. So back very shortly. Right, okay, basically that's it. As you can see, I've got everything pretty much loomed in now, so we've got basically a split the loom that came from the actual control box. I've sent one side up here, and that goes to the monitor panel there. So you see we've got the SCART in, we've got the component, we've got the VGA in. I found a VGA cable that wasn't too long. That goes down to the VGA splitter there. I've actually got the remote for the VGA splitter wired in there. I just need to find a power supply to run that. I haven't found a suitable power supply yet, but we do have the power strip there to actually power it. The other side of the wiring harness I run along here. I've actually tapped off that wire there, which goes to the middle monitor. The rest of this wiring harness actually goes all the way over to where you can see my light here. Let me just move my light. That basically goes into here, onto the bottom board, and then obviously the power supply and the LCDs at the top there. So that's all done. I've got basically the power supplies that run that monitor and that monitor cable tied down here, and all the switching is all wired in. We've obviously got the power for the 3 monitors connected up there. I said we've got the power supply for that monitor and for that monitor. That monitor there already has its power supply down there. So that's basically it. Essentially, let me just get you back over here. Essentially, like I said, that is the majority of it done. We're at a position now where we can actually test and actually see what works and what extra work we need to do to get this thing finished off. Then obviously the next thing, once we're happy with all that, is we've got all this nice piece of space down here where we can build a PC into there. So I'll get this thing flipped back round, we'll get it plugged in, and we'll actually see what is working and what we need to work some more on. Right, okay, there we go. I've got it flipped back round, I've got it plugged in, so we'll give it a try. If I flip the switches here, it's first one, second one, so third one. Right, there we go, that one fired up. I think that's on, and that one should be on. What we'll do, we'll see whether we can actually get something on each screen. I'm not going to be able to test it completely and fully yet, for the simple fact, one thing we haven't done yet is connect up the SCART blanking for the RGB for that screen. That one we would get RGB out of, but I haven't made a lead up yet to be able to connect anything up. That is going to be in the next video, but what I have got is I've got that little Atari joystick video game, and I thought we will give it a go and we'll see what we get out of it using that. Now I've had to make an adapter up so we can plug this in, but we'll go on the first monitor here. Oh yeah, there we go. We'll switch on. Let's see if we get anything. Oh, no, we are not. So we're not getting anything on composite. So we're just going to have a cat coming into shot. Yeah, we're not getting anything on composite on that monitor, but we did actually see that monitor fire up. Unless my cable here is not very good. Just make sure we haven't done anything daft and plugged it into the wrong thing. But so we've definitely got something there. That's switched off. Try switching it back on. One thing I have realised as well is I've got the first 2 switches the wrong way round. So basically, switch 1 is operating that screen and switch 2 is operating that screen. Switch 3 is correct. So I just need to swap the IEC leads round at the back. But no, we're not getting composite coming on that monitor. So that's something we need to look at. Let's try the next monitor, which is this one here. We should just be able to unplug that there, plug it in there. And we're not getting anything. Let's have we've got a bad connection there. So there we go, that's worked. In fact, so that means, let's try this one again then. There we are, that's working. So we've got screen 1, that is working, so I've just got a dodgy connection on that lead. But that works, as you can see. That's all working. So we go over onto the next screen. As you can see, that's working. I will have to fiddle with the geometry on that a little bit, and I still need to put the control knob back on there for the brightness control. But that is basically working. Yeah, that leads a bit dodgy. It was just something I just knocked up just for testing. I do have proper BNC to phono adapters, but I can't find any of the damn things at the moment. So we know that those 2 screens are going to work nicely. We'll get rid of that adapter there. And let's plug in for composite on the third monitor. Should be that. We could even get some audio on this, hopefully. And let's see if this monitor is going to. In fact, is that monitor switched on yet? I haven't actually figured out which is off and on yet. Right, no, so that's on. So away from is on, that's off there. So that's right. So we should be able to get something on this. I didn't even have to do anything. Look at that. Obviously it can sense a video input, and let's see if this is going to play. Start. Oops, I'm not very good. But that is ideal. That is just what I was wanting. So we've got third screen working. Yeah, that, I think the video, actually, I think it's that the lead on this cable. I might have to put a new wire on my joystick thing here. But yeah, I am really pleased with that. I wonder if the menu system on here is working okay. I'm not seeming to get them working at the moment. I'll have to see whether I plug that in the same. But that's basically just that little button there is for setting some of the settings on that screen. That is not working up to now, but we'll look at that. I might just not have connected it quite right. But so far so good. We've got the main screen working, that screen working, that screen working. We've still to test the RGB on them all, but I'm not. Now I've got the screens actually working. That's the main. That was the main problem. So what we'll do, I'll basically, between me doing the next video, I'll get a few of these little things just sorted out, or at least figured out what I'm going to do with them, like the RGB switching, so we can actually use the RGB on that screen. I need to put a actual physical control on the brightness there, so I can adjust it for that screen. That screen, what do we need to do? I think that one's pretty much sorted. We just need to make the RGB cable up so we can actually test an input on it, plug the Amiga or something like that into it. Same with that one. So yeah, I'm really pleased. Like I said, this video is already going to be fairly long now, so I'm going to leave it on this video, and in the next video we'll sort out some of them last final bits, and we'll look at actually putting a computer into this. And I'll show you why I'm thinking about putting a computer into it, and what the intention of that is and everything. So I'm going to leave it there for now, because I hope you enjoyed this little update on the project. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.